All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Up and In Show. We are here. We're back on the purple couch. And Flo, we were not on the purple couch for a little while. We had to sit over there, and that threw me off because I had like 200 episodes on this purple couch.
What an honor. I'm glad.
So we're back.
I'm glad it's back.
Yeah. Yes, we're happy to be back on the purple couch. We're at Sigma. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without our friends at Sigma, so we thank them so much. Sigma Engineering Constructors here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But I'm joined by a very special guest, Flo Dekkers. Thank you so much for joining us.
For sure. I'm excited.
Yes, tennis superstar at LSU, one of our great LSU athletes. Before we dive into a little bit about Flo, I do have to thank our sponsors. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without a few sponsors. Rejuvenate Medical, the anti-aging clinic here in Baton Rouge. Make sure you guys go check them out, rejuvenatemedical.com. Also, Fresh Chef Kitchen, Baton Rouge. They are meal prep. Obviously, that's important to performing well on the field and doing all that kind of good stuff. So they do all kinds of meal prep stuff, guys. They have a brick and mortar spot in Baton Rouge on Airline. Go check them out. It'll be tagged in our show notes. And, of course, St. Rock Vodka. I thought we had the hat here, but you guys know they are the official vodka of the NIL Bayou Traditions Collective. So athletes like Flo can go keep doing what they're doing. NIL is a great thing where players get paid for their name, image, and likeness. And so if you guys buy a bottle of St. Rock Vodka, portions go back into a fund that helps support athletes. So
great, yeah.
Very cool. Yes, anyway. Flo, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me talk about our great sponsors and all the things we do. But why don't you give our listeners a quick rundown, 1 minute, who you are, what you do, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Florentine Dekkers. I go by Flo. I'm 20 years old. I started playing tennis when I was 5 years old. As you can hear on the accent, I'm from the Netherlands, Europe. I played for 2 years college at Kansas State University. I transferred last year to Louisiana State University, and now I'm going into my last year.
Let's go. Yeah. We're happy you're here.
Yeah, super happy, yeah.
Your accent is awesome, first and foremost.
If you can't understand me, you got to tell me because I'm used to it.
It's absolutely, it's great. Is English, did you grow up speaking English?
No,
or did you
not
learn?
at all. No, it's Dutch. I'm half Italian, so I speak Dutch and a little bit of Italian, not too much.
No way.
Yeah, I started learning English in high school. So.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I played with a lot of guys that learned, English secondary, so I think it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I've tried to learn Spanish, and got semi-conversational for a little while I played, but it's learning a second language is so hard, so that's absolutely amazing. It makes me even more grateful that you're here, because I feel like Spanish, the guys that I played with when English was their second language, interviews are hard.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Wow. Well, thank you. I feel special.
So I
appreciate you. Yeah. All right. So K-State.
Yeah.
Right from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
That's wild. So how do they recruit you? Are you doing tournaments over here? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's actually funny. When I graduated high school, I was 17 years old,
okay.
And I wanted to go pro right away. But I had a conversation with my parents, and they were like, look, you're still pretty young, and if you just want to stop school right now, just go fully pro. Tennis is a lonely sport. Like, it's individual. You travel by yourself. It's basically an all-year sport. You don't have teammates. So they were like, if you're 17, you're going to do it. It's a lot, and it might be very lonely. So I got some DMs on Instagram from college coaches, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't feel like it, whatever. And I try to avoid it. But at one point, I was like, maybe I just want to talk to them, see how it goes. And I got actually super excited. My sister played college, so I knew how it was. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to give it a try, have some conversation with coaches. And it was during COVID year, so I couldn't visit or anything.
Wow.
So it's just based on FaceTime calls, and K-State felt like the right place at that moment, so I was like, I'm just going to do it, and I ended up loving it. So
good for you. Wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be kind of crazy, not being able to visit.
For sure. I was just speaking on, basically on...
Yeah, like, you seem like a cool dude. I get a woman, like...
we're like family, okay, sure, I'll do
all right, I'll come to your school. Yeah, hopefully it looks good.
Sure.
Yeah. Holy shit. So you'd visited America, I'm assuming, before that, though? Like, had you been to America?
I actually went for a tournament called the Orange Bowl. It's for juniors in Miami, but it was just for 1 week. You're basically seeing only tennis courts in the hotel, so I didn't know anything about the States.
Wow. Yeah, that's even more wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy. Okay, so you said you started playing tennis when you were five, though.
Yeah.
older sister, she played tennis?
Yeah, she played tennis, so that's kind of how I rolled into it. It was like,
Gotcha.
she plays, maybe you should play too, and yeah, that's how it happened.
Parents played or no?
Parents played, not professional, but always like, yeah, they always played a
Growing up.
lot, and that's just how it went.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Any other sports growing up too?
I would say I tried a little bit of dancing, whatever, but that was not a good idea for my future. So I was like, I might just stick with tennis. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Where did your sister go to university?
She went to Utah State for 4 years, and then she did her master at Southeastern, actually, in Hammond. So yeah, it
What?
ended up crazy being together.
Yeah,
but
so you guys crossed paths? Like she was in Louisiana when you were
yeah,
here too?
when I took my visit here, and I was like, I loved LSU, but that was the extra, like, that I was like, okay, this is actually meant to be. My sister is close, like, I should do it. you know?
That's so crazy.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
really cool. Was
Yeah.
that any part of why you started looking at LSU to transfer from K-State?
No, actually, so my freshman year when I started talking to coaches, I was already talking to LSU, but there
Okay.
were different coaches, and I always, it's so weird, but I've always kind of had this like obsession with LSU that I was like always checking, even though I was at K-State, like checking like, oh, how they're doing, you know, and then I started going on the transfer portal, not thinking about LSU, and I got a DM from my coach, and I saw like the Tiger and LSU. I was like, oh, it's meant to be. Second chance, I
way.
gotta go. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I went on a visit, and I just knew from the
It was
beginning,
over.
this is it. Yeah.
I wonder what. So that's interesting. I'm curious. So I grew up in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
When I came down here and I committed on my visit. Same thing. So
Oh,
like
really? Yeah.
I went to other places. LSU was kind of on my radar,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my God, it's LSU, right?
Yeah,
So
for
I
sure.
came down here, and then it just wowed me, and I committed on my visit. Obviously, LSU and these athletes and the things they're doing are very well known
Yeah.
right now. But like from an international standpoint,
No,
were
you
you
don't know.
always into LSU? No? Okay.
You don't know much. Actually, when you're an international, you don't know much about college. You know
Literally
how it
nothing.
works, like kind of like the matches and stuff like that, traveling. But school-wise, you can literally think about this school like it's kind of like LSU, but it's totally not, you know? So
Really?
yeah, you don't know a lot, but yeah.
Wow. Okay, so when you got to the States is when you started following LSU a little
Yeah,
bit more?
yeah, I would say then you understand, oh, this school is good, SEC. Like in the beginning when they were like, which conference? I was like, what is the conference? Like, what are you talking about? But no, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the U.S. media made you fall in love with LSU
Yeah,
a little
for
bit.
sure, for sure.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so I'm trying to think what years that was. That right when we won the national championship?
It was
football?
21, yeah.
Okay,
it was 21.
okay, so
yeah.
it was right after.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, yeah. I mean, we were having
Yeah.
some pretty badass athletes.
No,
doing some
for
cool
sure,
stuff.
100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's the biggest difference from K-State to LSU so far?
Ooh,
Or a couple, I guess you could say.
yeah, I
Sorry,
would-
the biggest is probably hard.
I would say definitely facility-wise, like it's insane here. Like the
Yeah.
amount of courts we have, the resources. Like, I mean, they basically offer you anything. Is it food-wise, nutritionist, mental? Go to psychologist. You want extra conditioning or weights? Go to your weight coach. Like for anything, there's like you have for everything like something, you know. So I would say the resources for sure. I do have to say, even though it sounds super basic, but the family environment, I feel like once you step on this campus, you just feel the love. Like people are bleeding purple and gold, you know? You can just feel it. Like even in football games, like it's crazy. I'm not a football player, but I feel it, you know? I'm like, I want to go on this field right now,
Yeah.
you know? But I would say just the family environment, the resources, and just like, I mean, I chose for my coaches for a reason for sure, but no, it's actually the best decision I've made. So
I love hearing
Yeah.
that. I really do. I say that all the time, and shit. Now I'm 35. I just
Yeah.
turned 35 years old, and it's like, I mean, I have a couple businesses here. I'm fortunate to be able to do this stuff,
Yeah.
but it's because of that kind
Yeah,
of stuff
for
with
sure.
LSU, right?
Yeah.
Like, kid from Jersey now lives down
Yeah.
here for 17,
Yeah.
18 years and
Wow.
running
Yeah.
businesses. But that's exactly it. And people ask me that all the time. They're like, why Baton Rouge? I'm like, you don't understand
yeah,
until you come
you're
down here.
then you
Yeah.
feel, no,
And the purple and gold. I grew up and my dad purposely kept me away from football because he didn't want me playing because I was basketball,
Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with football. And,
Yeah.
and it's just one of those things. Sports down here are just different.
It's a different world.
Yeah. Like you said, it makes you want to just go out there and play.
Yeah, like be a
Like, I could
quarterback,
do this,
I'll
yeah.
do it. Yeah.
I don't even know. I've
I
never
got
played
this,
football in my
yeah.
life, but I could do this. There's enough
For
people here.
sure.
Like I could
Yeah.
turn it on. Yeah. That's
No,
so
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the things that are happening as a student athlete
Mm-hmm.
right now at LSU, I can't imagine the things, like you said, I mean, the resources, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But even NIL stuff, have you
Yeah.
been exposed to that? I know, tennis is a little bit more
Yeah,
individual,
for
smaller
sure.
sport. But
I would say you can definitely notice that it's a smaller sport. I think as in the tennis world, they're definitely trying to make more a brand for ours and just make ourselves look kind of bigger. I would say for an international NIL is hard. Like,
Oh, that's right. You guys have different rules, right?
Yeah, they're still right now kind of like debating, are we gonna do it or not? So right now it's still not like officially like legal. Yeah, it's you can basically not earn the money. You gotta make the pictures in your own country. Like there are a lot of rules that are kind of like it sucks because you like LSU is the school that could definitely help you make a brand for yourself. So it's hard to see sometimes, but there are definitely some ways that you can still try to like kind of make a brand for yourself, and I think they're working on it. So but right now I cannot really like benefit from it, so
that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
I just remembered that as I asked that because the dude Zach Edey or whatever that played basketball, he's from Canada or something, and he was the best. He couldn't make any money, so you can't take money at all.
Basically not. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's like loopholes around it and ways that you could do it.
Ways, but definitely not the normal way.
Oh my God, that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
hopefully
I hope
they
it change.
hopefully they figure that out for you guys. All right, so if there was a brand deal, if there was something that you were passionate about, what would be something that you feel like you could represent well or help out a company kind of market themselves? Anything?
I would definitely say, I mean, nutrition-wise, I really like that for athletes for sure. I would also like, to be honest, I mean, it sounds super basic, money is super nice, but it's just so nice to like, I love making content and just making a name for yourself, but also help like younger kids get into it, you know, like kind of promote LSU because they gave so much to me and I kind of feel like you want to give it back, you know, even though I could never like do it back, whatever. But yeah, basically anything. I'm just like, if it has to do with sport or anything, I'm very passionate about it. So
very cool.
Basically anything.
No, I love it. And I remember Abby saying something that you had some interest in creating content and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is that more of what you think it's centered around? Is kind of inspiring younger kids, younger generations?
I would definitely say so. I would definitely say so because, as I told you, I never wanted to go in college because it was not very well known in Europe. And I would say right now it's pretty famous in Europe, but I would love to like tell people my story, especially I'm not from the States, you know. It was hard for me. I didn't know the language. I didn't have my family down here. Like to tell those kids like, hey, it's basically possible for anyone. Like, oh my God, if I could like tell anyone to go to college, I would definitely tell anyone. And if it could be LSU, I would definitely do it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we could help you with that and put some stuff out
That'd
for
be
you.
Great,
I'm sure, because I think that is important. And again, for somebody that came from New Jersey, whose story is LSU has opened up a bunch of doors and opportunities for me. So I definitely relate, and I can't even relate on the scale of not knowing the language and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. What would you say was the biggest tool for you that helped you kind of absorb the English language and like the U.S. culture?
You literally got to go out there and like basically be so independent. Like I remember the first time I came there, I saw the washing machine and I was like, oh, Mom, I don't know what to do, you know, like, and it's in English, like what do I do? Or like in class, I remember I would like, even you had to introduce yourself, I would freak out because no one looks around until you have a weird accent and people are gonna look who's talking, you know. So you literally gotta do it. You literally gotta be it. But you like the way you grow up and the way you get mature so fast when you do it. Like I'm so happy my first year I didn't have anyone that was from the Netherlands around me because I know I would only talk Dutch, only do stuff with that person, you know. But I just had to do it alone. And what I would say I love about tennis, I have it now and also at K-State, we had an all international team. So everyone was in the same boat. No one's first language was English. So like you learn from each other, you go through the same thing, you know, so like you can rely on each other, but you literally just got to do it.
I love it.
You got to do it, yeah.
No, and I mean, like you said, it helps when you have international teammates that are going through the same thing. But I mean, that's what I've always heard is like, and I was conversational in Spanish, but they were like, you'll never be fully fluent until you go to another country and you just go, and you just go and you have to.
It's scary, but you got to do it,
Yeah, all right. Well, talk to me about that. So obviously as an athlete, right, you overcome fear all the time when you go and play and you're in high pressure situations. But in a situation like that, you know, give me some advice or give our listeners some advice of how you overcome fear. How do you just do it? What is your kind of mindset?
I would say in the beginning I was because I'm a very social person, extrovert. I talk a lot. But when I came to college, I was like the opposite. I didn't talk. Like there were people talking slang. They would be like, "What's up?" And I would be like, "What's up?" Like what? I don't understand what you're saying. Like I messaged.
Like how many S's do I put in there? Yeah.
I was like freaking out, like looking up things, Google Translate, and I made myself, I would say, more insecure than it actually was. I heard so many times that people were saying, it's actually not that bad, you know, you make it so much worse. So I would say start with people that you know. Like start with your teammates. Start talking with your coaches. Like those are people that are like in your circle. Then start talking to classmates, and try to make friends. And I mean, that's literally how it goes. You get more confident in it, and you just do it,
That's
But
exactly right.
you gotta get out of your shell, because otherwise
Yeah.
it's tough. Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing with fear. Like you said, it's like it gets easier when you do stuff.
Yeah.
So the first conversation was probably hard, but then you're like, all right, now the next person that I
Yeah.
go to, it's a little easier,
Yeah.
a little easier.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're like, all right,
Yeah,
here
you
we
talk
go.
to everyone. Yeah. No,
I was going to
sure.
say, because you sound like you'd like to talk.
No,
so.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes too much. Yeah.
Well, on a podcast,
Yeah,
you're in
it's
the right
always good.
situation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we might sit here
it's
till
okay.
8 p.m., but yeah.
Well, but I can imagine how hard that would have been for somebody like you said who was naturally social, and then you're like, well, now I have nothing
I'm
to
shy.
talk.
I'll just go to my room and stuff. But no, yeah.
Are there like Dutch speaking clubs and like people that you like connected with here? Or anything like
Not
that?
really.
No?
Here, not really people from Netherlands. At K-State, I had a Dutch roommate. I found her in my sophomore year. Yeah.
Whoa.
And we're super close now. But I would say here, not really. But I do have to say, when I transferred here, I felt confident and my English was fine. I
Nice.
felt
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm
that's
used
good.
to it now.
Yeah.
So I'm good. Like I'm talking
Yeah.
slang now.
Yeah.
Like what's up?
Yeah, like the LSU people are like, no, what are you
Yeah,
talking
what-
about?
yeah, what are
The
you
people
doing?
that
Yeah.
met you the first year at K-State are probably
We're
like, is that the
what-
same
yeah,
person?
that's not the same.
That's
No, for sure.
hilarious. That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. So what about in your free time? Like, so like what have you adapted to here that, and obviously I'd imagine in Europe it's entertainment is different. So
Yeah.
like what about here? What do you do to entertain yourself here?
I would say I'm a big coffee fan, and I would say
Let's go.
here in the United States it's like so normal to I just grab a coffee. In like Europe you wouldn't really do that really quick. Yeah,
Really?
you'll just
Okay.
go for a lunch or something. So I'm a big food person as well, so I love eating. So most of the times I just go eat with my friends or anything.
What's your favorite food here in the US?
I mean, I'm a big sushi person, but that's not really United States. So I would
I
say
mean,
that-
some of the coast places have probably good sushi.
I do like a good burger, I would
Okay.
say. That's typical.
American,
Yeah,
right?
that's typical American, but there's not a lot more that like I would say, I mean, I'm a big Europe like food fan. Like the food is there really good, but I got adjusted here, so
That's good.
it's good. Yeah, but I would say just hang out with friends. I really like having friends. I feel like this year I got a little bit more like friends from gymnastics, like other sports, volleyball, because you're
cool.
always with your teammates.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
it's good to go out of your own circle. But no, I love hanging out with friends.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I've never been to Europe, so
Okay.
don't judge me.
No, I won't.
I'm undercultured there. I've been to
Okay.
Asia a bunch and done all that stuff out there.
Okay.
I need to go to. I'm Italian too, so like it's
Oh
killing me that
wow,
I've
great!
never been to Italy.
You have to go. Yeah.
But what's the food culture like over there? Like, what do you guys eat in the Netherlands that is like custom to you guys that you don't find that we wouldn't find over here?
I would just say it feels like don't judge me, whoever's
No,
listening,
this
but
is
like,
judgment free
yeah.
zone. Judgment free zone.
It's very fresh, you don't feel like
Over
it's
there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't feel like it's a lot. Here when I eat, I'm like feeling like guilty what I ate, and like
Wow.
in Europe it's like
Yeah.
fresh. It's the perfect amount. I would say you have just a lot of options. Like, yeah, it's
Just
great.
cleaner food,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
that's
yeah. You
so we
feel
have fillers
cleaner.
and
Yeah.
like whatever
Like
preservatives and
refill,
all
we
that
don't
shit.
do a
Yeah.
refill. Like you gotta pay for $3 for a water. We don't do refill. Like you just pay another $3. Like yeah, it's
wow.
yeah.
So that's why we're fat over here. That's it. Okay, we're obese because we just
I didn't say
we're
it, but-
overserved. We're overserved.
No, yeah.
That's okay. It's
I
okay.
love
It's
the
okay.
refills though, so I'm not gonna complain. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard. I've heard in Italy, like you can just eat like pizzas and the bread is
Yeah.
not filling,
No,
and it's just
yeah,
like
it's
it's
just
just very
perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
So we just put all that gluten and shit
Yeah.
here in there. That's what
Everything,
it is. Right? We just put all the
everything.
nasty stuff in it.
Yeah.
I've heard even like the Coca-Cola brands is like it's different soda.
yeah,
and
it's
everything.
all
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
We're just trying to poison ourselves here. Just trying to always maximize.
You gotta
the dollar
go.
in
You
America.
gotta go. You
Something.
gotta go.
I know. I want to go so bad. It's
Yeah.
on my bucket list. All right. So where would I go in Europe? Give me top 5 power rankings. I mean, I'd imagine Netherlands is up there for you. But.
Definitely, but because I'm used to it, I wouldn't say that's
Okay,
number
okay.
one. I would say Italy.
All right, let's go.
Spain is great. Greece, the Netherlands, and France.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
those
would
are all on my
recommend
bucket
if you
list.
go,
Yeah.
go to multiple countries because
Yeah,
once
yeah.
you're there, it's so easy.
That's
to
what I was like. I want to go
there.
like 2 to 4 weeks
Yeah.
and just be like, I'm gonna spend some
Go
time
everywhere
over there.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
That's what number 1 on my bucket list is Italy and Greece. I
Yeah.
feel they're close and you
Yeah.
can just do a bunch of cool
And
stuff.
it's great.
And I want to take like 5 to 7 days in Italy alone.
Yeah.
And just like go
No,
experience
it's amazing.
it.
You're gonna
Yeah.
love it. Yeah.
That's awesome. What were some of the first spots that, I mean, obviously you came to K-State, but
Mm-hmm.
like were there other destination points in America that you were like curious about that you wanted to hit?
Honestly, I didn't know much about it. Like, I would say I didn't have a car, so it's very hard to like just go
somewhere,
somewhere, you know, and
yeah.
like, for example, for people in Europe, 2 hour car drive is like, that's a
Crazy.
lot. Like, I'm
Really?
not doing that. And here they're like 2 hours. That's like
It's
nothing,
easy,
you
yeah.
know. So
Is that
I
because
would,
you guys have trains and stuff a
yeah,
lot
we
over
go
there? Yeah,
bike,
everywhere
we
in train.
bike
Oh, okay,
everywhere. Like,
okay.
yeah. So
That's why you guys are healthier.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I would say Kansas City was like, that was already like super far for us, like in 2 hours, you know.
Yeah.
But I loved Kansas City. But I was never really like, oh, I want to go here, because it was already so cool for me to be there, you know,
Yeah.
that I wasn't very like thinking about other states or whatever. But you go a lot with your tennis team, you travel a lot, so you see
That's
a lot
true.
of places. But
That's true.
yeah.
Very cool. All right, so it's your last year, senior
Sadly,
year.
yeah.
Sadly. So what do you hope? What are some goals? Like, what are you looking to really absorb in your last year on campus?
So I want to go professional next year. So this year is
Took my next question.
I want to go professional next year. So this year is actually the most important one. I would say the first 2-3 years are more the ones that you're like trying to like improve more on the court, off the court, and this is just, you're gonna apply it all in your last year. Obviously, you're gonna have fun because it's the last year of college. Even though I don't really like to say that out loud, but no,
You
I
have
would.
fun on the court
Yeah.
while you're winning.
Yeah,
And like, yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Winning's always more fun.
No, yeah,
That's
I
what it's
just
about.
want to get everything out of it, and no, just apply everything and be ready to go pro next year.
Very
so,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I read somewhere that. So how does it work for pro in college? Did you play something pro already, but you just don't get paid or whatever?
Yeah, you basically play some pro tournament, but it's so hard because you're also playing college tournaments. Like,
Right.
usually if you go actually pro, you play every week another pro tournament. Here,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard. But that's what I love about my coaches. They still give you the opportunity to play pro tournaments during college. So yeah, I play a few, but next year really gotta happen. Like, you go every week, you go everywhere. Like, yeah.
All right, I saw the movie Challengers.
Okay,
Are you sick of answering that question because it's so mainstream? But like, is it because that's kind of like it's college and pro, right?
Yeah.
One guy goes pro, one guy
Yeah.
goes college. So
Yeah.
is it kind of like that, like where they're showing that, like?
I would say in the beginning, so 2 years ago, people always thought, okay, if I'm going college, I can't go pro anymore. Like, it's over, you know?
Yeah.
And people thought if I go pro, there's no way of going college anymore. And I would say they developed a lot of like new strategies and stuff. And people show it these days that a lot of pros that are like now on the pro tour came from college, like Ben
Nice.
Shelton,
Good.
came from the
Yeah, yeah,
Gators, you
yeah.
know, Daniel Collins, like all those players were all college players. So I would say college is actually the perfect step to get ready to go pro, you know, like you can practice whenever you want. You have coaches that are available all day for you. Like, use it to go pro, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say it's the best step ever to, like, if you want to go pro.
I would imagine too. I mean, a lot of the reasons that your parents probably suggested that you look into college was, and this was my experience, because in baseball you can get drafted out of high school
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
like I got drafted, but I was nowhere near ready to go just as a human, like
Yeah.
just as a
Yeah,
man, you
everything.
know, like
Yeah,
I would have
for
been
sure.
a boy and been
Yeah.
lost, you
Yeah.
know? So I feel like college does a lot of that stuff for you too,
100%,
just
yeah.
teaches you how to be
Grow you,
independent, be
yeah,
on your own and all that,
100%.
and allows you to go play professionally. So,
Yeah.
but it is literally like you're just going to different countries
Yeah.
on the different weekends. It's just random
Every
tours.
week, yeah.
And
It's like I said,
tournaments.
it's super lonely. Like, you have a
Yeah.
team, you have probably physical trainer, you have your own coach, maybe a mental coach, but that all starts. Tennis is super expensive. Like, I would
Yeah.
say golf and tennis are maybe most of the expensive sport. You have to pay a hotel for yourself, for your coach. Like, it's insane. You travel basically every week. As soon as you lose your match, you go to the next
Yeah.
tournament. Like, it's very mental. That's why you see a lot of times people quitting on the pro tour, because it's mentally a lot for you,
Yeah.
you know? So you got to make sure you're totally ready for it. But yeah, you see a lot of places. It's very cool too, and very fun. If you have the right people like next to you, it's great. Yeah.
I would imagine it's like, so I dated a girl that played professional beach volleyball
Okay.
on the FIVB tour.
Okay.
And that's, I would assume it's similar. She, like
Yeah.
every weekend it was like, she's going to Dubai.
There,
She's
there,
going, like, I'm
yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
all right, maybe I'll go to that. That sounds amazing. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
I'll
like,
join, yeah.
Yeah. So I would
Yeah.
imagine it's like that, but it
No,
was the
yeah.
same thing. She'd be like, play the championship game, lose on
Yeah.
a Sunday, and
And
then
you
be
go-
like that night,
Yeah.
be on a flight to go
Yeah.
in somewhere else. And you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, like
Yeah.
that's crazy. So,
Yeah, it
but
is.
she had a teammate, so at least there's like
Someone to travel with
yeah,
her, that's great.
individual would
Yeah.
be that's
It's tough.
Yeah,
It's
that's
tough.
gotta be really hard. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you do on the road? Do you have a go-to? Is there something that you're prepared to do and like kind of like you do in your downtime when you're on the road?
I would say, you mean in college or just by myself?
In general, like, have you thought about it in the
Yeah.
future, or is it something now?
I would say, I mean, like I said, if you travel with a team, it can be super fun. Like if you have a
Yeah.
coach, you
Oh,
do
no,
like
yeah.
fun things, card games. You know, you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
explore the city, you go for a coffee, but at the end of the day, you travel for that tournament.
Yeah.
So it can be all fun, but as soon as the tournament starts, you are locked in and
Yeah.
you just do what you gotta do. Think about your routine. You know, be prepared. Make sure you have enough rackets, bags, clothes, everything. And just lock in. But it definitely can be fun, but you just choose the
you
right
gotta balance
times.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you get back going to living your life as a student athlete here in a few minutes. Last question. I always say last question, but usually there's a couple other ones that trickle in. But we'll wrap up soon. But I'm big. My show's called the Up and In Show. So something that is important to me is figuring out what kind of stuff high performers think about, that kind of stuff. Is there anything? Do you meditate? Do you use a mental? Do you have a mental coach? Do you use visualization? Is there anything that has helped you take your game to the next level, like at least mentally, that isn't necessarily physical?
For sure. I would say I wasn't as good as it a few years ago, but I started learning it way more because of the people around me. And LSU athletes, I would say visualization is so important. Like sometimes I could, like a few years ago, you would joke around with like teammates about like negative stuff, on the court, like, oh, this was so bad. But like if you start joking about it, you start actually believing it and you start being insecure about it. So I would say literally when it's about your sport, talk positive. Like you got to believe in it, obviously, but like it starts with saying it out loud and actually believing it. So I would say that's a big thing. I would say another thing that is very big is routine. I feel like if you actually want to be structured and do everything organized, you got to have the same routine, which really helped for me. Meditate is part of that. Like if I play a match at 5 p.m., it starts for me all in the morning and the night before, actually. So meditate, visualization is so important. Write things down. That really helps for me. I would say like not too much, but 3 goals for that day, what you are going to work on. Write it on your bottle, because sometimes I just write it down and then I go into my match and kind of forget about it,
I love
so
that, yeah.
I write it on my bottle or my towel, and that's basically routine is also super important. So I would say those 3 things are the most important things for me and maybe also other athletes.
Oh, I love it. No, and that's what everybody's different, right? Different things work for them. So like even just writing something on a towel or a bottle, just to remind yourself, is super big. But that's big for me. Is, I mean, all of us, not all of us, but all of y'all that come on this couch and that are athletes nowadays. But when I was playing, same thing, right? Like most of everybody at the level that you're at, physical levels are similar, right?
Sure,
It's the mental side of things that separate athletes and people and allow them to do it longer and stay more consistent. So I just always like to appreciate what different things people use. Visualization is one of my, it's literally one of my favorite things. And I still do that in business. If I'm going to give a talk or if I have a big meeting, like I literally will sit and meditate and visualize and picture. It's not just visualizing it, but for me, it's embodying what it's going to feel like after I walk out that meeting or after I finish that talk or whatever. And I would imagine it's the same thing for y'all, like, right?
Sure,
you walk off, you know what it feels like winning and hitting that last point
shot,
or whatever. Exactly. So very, very cool.
Great.
All right. Well, I know I said one more question, but I was thinking about this when you were talking to family, friends. Do you have family from Europe that comes and watches you play at LSU?
My parents come always every spring to watch some matches, so that's great. And with Christmas, we get to go home. In the summer, we get to go home. So it's actually, I mean, we have FaceTime. It makes it a lot better.
Good, yeah.
I do have to say, being 17 years old and moving to the States alone, you start appreciating things so much more. Like you start realizing, oh, my parents actually did a lot for me. Like even though you know it, those things make you realize it a lot. So super grateful for them. I know it's not around the corner, like it's across the world where they're living, so that they come every year to visit me is amazing. I have a sister in the States. I have friends now. So, I mean, I built a family these 4 years that I'm forever grateful for. So
yeah, that's awesome. Well, I love hearing that. And I think people forget too, right? They see you on the phones and on the courts and all that stuff. They forget the sacrifices that it takes and the little things, and even your family too. So kudos to your family. Hopefully they're listening and supporting. But that's awesome.
I don't know if they'll understand in English, but
that's right. they don't understand English?
Well, they do, but not like insanely.
Yeah, they won't.
They'll have a conversation, but it's not the WhatsApp slang, that we're not there yet.
You gotta start teaching them the slang.
I'm trying.
Exactly. Well, Flo, this was awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you for making some time.
For sure.
If anything ever comes up that you want to think about content wise, you have Abby's contact.
Yeah,
We'd love to work with you. Love working with LSU athletes. And it'll be really fun to tune in and watch you this year.
Great.
Best of luck in your senior year.
Thank you.
Go out with a bang and hopefully they call it the Pro Tour?
Tour.
Let's
Pro
go.
Tour,
All right. The Pro Tour. Hopefully it all goes well and goes the way you want.
Definitely. I'll keep you updated on it.
There's no draft, right?
No, we don't do draft.
Okay, so you just kind of go in, you
just do it,
qualify for tournaments and then just go, right? Very cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you.
I love it.
All right, stay healthy.